This video is gonna be our first video on how to make a Lego character. So what we're gonna do is start off with our guides. So we're gonna use what are called image planes. These are very useful images because they'll give us kind of our orthographic views, our front view and our side view. That'll kind of set us up really well to keep our proportions. So I'm gonna jump first of all into my front view, drop off an image over there. I'm also going to drop off one in the side view. Yeah, and these will both be provided for you. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the front view. I'm going to go into my view menu for that particular view, and then I'm going to go all the way down to where it says image plane, and then choose the import image option. Yeah, so again, view, image plane, and import image. Once you get there, you're going to then navigate to your image guide. Now, if you notice on my desktop, I do have two images on here. I'm going to kind of use the Lego character front guide and drop that one off. Yeah, so what this will do is it'll kind of drop off an image right in the center. Yeah, so super helpful. What I'm also going to do is take a quick look at it in my perspective view. Yeah, and you'll probably notice that it's perfectly centered. We probably want to push it back in the Z direction. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure that it's selected. In the channel box, I'm going to rename this. Yeah, so this will be Lego front view. Yeah, so front view guide. Okay, so that'll be my name for that. I'm also going to push it back. So because I'm pushing it back, I'll go to my translate Z. Maybe I'll put this at minus like 6. Yeah. Now this will give me enough room so that when I'm building, this won't be kind of like cutting into the character. I'm gonna do the same thing now. And if you notice in the front view, it'll pretty much maintain its look. I'm gonna do the same thing for the side view. So once again, I'm going into the view menu, going to image plane, importing that image as well. This one I'm gonna be looking for the side view. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that one and drop it off. Just like with the front view, in my perspective view, I also want to make sure that this is kind of pushed back. So I'm gonna make sure I have this selected, make sure I'm naming this. So this is Lego side view guide. All right, and then once again, like getting this out of the center. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of translate this in the X direction. Maybe I'll kind of do something similar. So I'll put this at like -8, so -8. Okay, and then I kind of have my two images over here. Okay, now one thing you'll notice about these image planes is that they are viewable in multiple views. Yeah, what you can do actually is you can kind of lock it in so that you don't end up having them like kind of blocking you in the perspective view. To do that, yeah, just make sure you have whichever image plane you need selected. We're going to go to our attribute editor. Yeah, so go to your settings for that. And then we can choose to make it looking through camera only. Yeah, so for example, for the front view, we dropped it off in the front view camera. If we go and choose looking through camera, what'll happen is it'll only show up in that view. Yeah, same thing with your side view. So if you have that one selected and you choose the looking through camera, again, image plane is still there, but it's just not going to impede your view while you're working in your perspective view. All right, so super quick right there. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we'll start simple. So based off of this guide, it looks like we can kind of work our way from top to bottom. So we'll start off with the Lego head. And I'm gonna jump back to my perspective view, gonna go into my create menu, polygon primitives, and then definitely this is a job for a cylinder. Yeah, so I'm gonna click on the square next to cylinder. I'm also gonna reset my settings just so that we're all kind of working off of the same thing. I'm not gonna change too much about this. Right now it looks like the defaults are 20 axis divisions, which is pretty nice. It'll create a nice little rounded cylinder. I am going to change the amount of height divisions. Yeah, so instead of having this at 1, I'm going to bump this up to 4. Okay, and I will be utilizing the cap divisions. Yeah, so I'm going to be utilizing those. So instead of putting this at 1, I'm going to kind of put this at 2. Yeah, so jumping that one up as well. Okay, now once we have those two settings, I can go ahead and click on create. Okay, here is our cylinder to work with. I can kind of see it in my front view, so I'm going to jump back to that. What you'll notice right off the bat is that, again, just like anything else, it'll show up right in the center of your scene. We're going to resize this. Yeah, so I'm going to go, I'm going to move this up into place and resize. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of try to centralize this right over here. The other thing you probably notice is that if I do a scale, yeah, so if I click on it and start scaling it up, the main thing I'm looking for is trying to get the correct width. Yeah, so I'm trying to get this so that it's sort of touching the left side and the right side. This guide is not exactly perfect, but it looks pretty close. Yeah, and while I'm scaling up, if you notice, I'm clicking on the middle cube. Yeah, so that is scaling left to right, but it's also scaling front to back. Yeah, which is very important. Okay, now as soon as I scale this up, it's gonna look weird because look at that proportion. I do need my guide viewable, so I'm not going to go into my shading menu and choose the X-ray option. Yeah, so again, shading X-ray, that way I can see my guide well. And it's looking like I need this area right over here. So I'm going to kind of scale this down so I have the top and bottom kind of matching up right before it starts to uh, taper off. Yeah, so if you notice, it kind of rounds out in those two areas. Yeah, so this will kind of work on this side. I'm also going to take a look at it in my side view. Because this Lego character is very symmetrical all the way around in 360, you'll also notice that, like, because I scaled using that middle cube, it is going to kind of be the right proportion already. I'm going to X-ray this side as well, so I'm going back to my shading X-ray and using the move tool to kind of drop that off over here. Yeah, so nice and clean, super easy so far. Okay, now the next thing we're definitely gonna have to do is work on the top of the head and going towards the neck. Yeah, so the next thing I really want is I want to get all these faces at the top. I'm going to right click and go into face mode. Instead of clicking each of these individual faces one by one, which you could do, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a super selection. Yeah, so again, I'm right clicking, I'm in face mode already. I'm going to then shift and sorry, I'm going to click and drag, not shift. Yeah, click and drag, and I'm going to catch the top and also this middle faces. Yeah, so again, click, drag, catch top and catch middle. And what you're going to notice is this catches all these top faces. It also catches this row right over here though. I don't actually need that row, so I'm going to hit the shift key, and now I'm going to drag a tiny little rectangle across all the faces that I don't need. Once I do that and let go, it will leave me just with these top faces, yeah, which is more ideal. All right, so perfect. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna do two extrudes here. Yes, I'm gonna do a first extrude, Command E, or edit mesh extrude. Either way, right, will work really well for this. And then I'm going to use the move tool. Yeah, so pressing W or clicking on this button right over here, kind of drag this up. Okay, that'll be my first section right here. Okay, if you notice, again, we gotta scale that in. So I'm gonna go to my scale tool. So I'm gonna click on R, click on this cube right here, drag it to the left. Yeah, so that middle cube. And again, kind of making sure I'm doing the middle cube because I want to make sure that it's also proportioning out pretty well in this view. Yeah, looks like I gotta make some edits on here, but not too bad. Okay, and then here's my last of my extrudes before I get to like that top part, that that little top knot, I guess we can call it. So I'm gonna extrude one more time. Again, use the move tool to bring this up. Try to match it up as much as possible. Go to the scale tool, again, which is R, right? And then scale that one in, yeah. So that should kind of match up pretty well over there. All right, so that'll be that area. I'm gonna take a look at it in my side view. It's not bad. I'm actually just gonna do a little bit of a modification, yeah. So I'm just kind of grabbing this set over here, kind of scaling it a bit, yeah. but yeah, this should pretty much work. I'm kind of good with that. These again, these aren't the perfect guides. They're pretty close, but they're not perfect. Okay, I'm also gonna do the same thing with the bottom. Yeah, so again, we're gonna make the bottom shape. So again, right click, go into face mode. I am then gonna select middle, select bottom. Yes, I'm getting all of those faces. This time though, I'm kind of doing the opposite, right? Again, I don't want this row right over here, so I'm gonna hold down the shift key, get rid of all of those, yeah, and then I can extrude. So Command E or Edit Mesh Extrude, then use the Move tool, right? Bring that down. Okay, so here's my next set. Again, scale, middle cubed in the scale, kind of scale that in to match up. And then looks like I have one more to do. So then I'm gonna extrude one more time, bring this down, scale this in. Yeah, so bring this down and kind of scale this in. And then looks like I'll bring it down just a little bit more. Yeah, so it kind of matches up right there. All right, so this is gonna kind of look pretty accurate for the shape. Yeah, now the next big thing that we're gonna work on is we're just gonna try to make sure that we can make this piece right up here, yeah, which is the top of the head. Should be pretty simple. So the top knot, we're gonna do the same thing for the neck, yeah. So I am gonna go into my face mode. Okay, all I want is this little section over here. So probably the quickest way to select that is to kind of go inside of the model. I am then gonna click and drag, yeah, and just grab that upper circle. Okay, now this one is going to be a little bit weird because we do need to make sure that the proportion is correct. Right now, if I do just straight up and extrude and bring this up, it's going to be a little bit on the smaller side. So we can kind of get away with that at first. So I'm going to kind of bring this up, yeah, so I'm going to kind of bring that out. And then afterwards, just kind of select all the faces, yeah. Kind of use the scale tool to scale it out. Okay, now it's going to look a little bit weird because it is going to drop at the bottom. Not too much of an issue though, because then we can use the move tool to kind of bring this back up again. Yeah, so we'll kind of match that up. This is probably is looking like it's a little bit on the tall side for what I need. So what I'm then gonna do is right click, go into vertex mode, and select all the vertices at the top, and then kind of bring those like downwards. Yeah, so it's kind of matching up over here. I am gonna also double check to make sure on my side view that it's about in the right area. Again, these images are almost aligned. Looks like the side view is a little bit taller, yeah, but we can kind of work with that. Right, and then here's your top area. We just have one more extrude to do. So again, we're gonna kind of do our selection now. Now we're at a better angle, so now I can again go into my face mode, catch top, catch middle with my click drag, then hold down the shift key, get rid of that middle set of faces, yeah, and then I just have what is on top, and then I'm just gonna extrude one time. It looks like is all I need. I'll bring this up, and then scale this in, yeah. Okay, and then that'll be the overall shape, yeah. Now, it is gonna round out a little bit more, yeah, for those of you who are concerned about that. I'm gonna kind of do the same thing for the neck. So, once again, we do have like this inner circle. This is why we kind of did that extra set of edges there. I'm going to grab all these faces once again from the inside. You know, so navigate to the inside, select those faces. Remember, we don't select from the outside usually because it ends up like kind of selecting extra faces on the opposite end of the model. But once we have this, again, kind of the same thing, yeah, we're going to do our extrude. Okay, bring this piece down, super easy. Okay, and I'm probably gonna extend it just a little bit so it's actually in the body. Yeah, very, very slightly. Not really that important to do this, but I'm gonna kind of try that out. And then once again, just making sure that the proportions are correct. Yeah, right now he has a very, very skinny neck. So what I'm then gonna do is click and drag, select all of those, and scaling. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of match up to the neck width. Okay, and again scaling with the middle cube, yeah, so that it's kind of keeping the proportion. Again, the guide for both sides should work pretty well. You may be kind of concerned about this area right over here. What I'm then going to do is kind of scale that down. Yeah, and that should look pretty good. Yeah, so right about there. By the way, if you ever notice like it's a little bit off like this, okay, and you can't quite get it right, don't worry, it's very easy to realign. If you just right click and go into vertex mode and then select vertices that you all want like kind of at the same height, what you can then do is go to your scale tool and just scale downwards. And if you notice, what that does is it kind of makes sure that they all are kind of aligned afterwards. Yeah. All right, so that should be pretty good. So here's your Lego head. Not too bad. One thing you notice though is with our extrudes, you can sort of see these weird little, the edges are pretty, you can pretty much tell like, yeah, which pieces were extruded. I am going to select this and I'm going to go into mesh display and choose the soften edge option. Okay, so that'll make it look a little bit better. Okay, now one of the things you'll notice though, even when we do that though, is it's not as clean as it could be, particularly when we change sections. Yeah, you can kind of see like this part almost blends, yeah, which it shouldn't. Also the where the chin would be versus the neck, that one should also be cleaner. We are going to be smoothing this out, yeah, so right now if I press 3, you're gonna notice that it looks pretty bad, especially at the bottom, yeah, but like all the way around it looks a little bit mushy. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next is we're going to add a few holding edges, and this will really allow us to make our model look a lot more cleaner. Yeah, so here's where our holding edges are going to be. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure this is selected. I'm going to go mesh tools, insert edge loop. Yeah, so mesh tools, insert edge loop. In fact, I'm going to click on the square for insert edge loop just to check out my settings, make sure that I don't have any weird stuff. So I click on reset over there. Okay, it should be good at this point. And then I'm going to start dropping off those edges. Yeah, so definitely big ones that I'm going to do is the neck was looking really weird. I'm going to put a nice holding edge right over here. Yeah, so that'll give me, when I go into 3 mode, that'll give me a really nice holding. It'll kind of like hold that shape. I'll do the same thing at the bottom. This is not as important, but just because it is out of sight. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to have. I'm also going to make sure that double up on the chin, so I'm gonna double up right over here and create another edge over here. Yeah, so again, that's 3 of them down here. I'm actually considering doing a 4th down here, but we'll get to that one afterwards. We can't use the insert edge loop tool for anything that is that looks like this though, so it has that triangle look to it. I'm gonna do the same thing up top. Yeah, so once again, right over here, tighten that up. Right over here, yeah, tighten that up as well. Okay, and then I am gonna do a 3rd one. Yeah, so right about here. Yeah, I'm not gonna make this one as tight though. Okay, and then we can kind of do a preview for this once I do this last setup here. Yeah, so again, 4 of these that I've done so far, 1, 2, and then this one, and then a 4th one near the top. Yeah, I am probably gonna again make another edge loop here, but I'll show you how we're gonna do that. We have to go through a different method. All right, so that should be good. I'm gonna now right click, go into object mode, okay, and then press 3. You can kind of take a look at it. It should have a much nicer and cleaner look to it. Okay, yeah, in fact, that's really good. We can kind of work with that already. If you want to, again, I did mention the top and the bottom. It looks like it's okay, but if you ever want to create a holding edge up there, but it's like based off of triangles, what you can then do is you're just gonna select your faces like this, okay, and then to create a holding edge over there, what you would just do is you would do an extrude. Yeah, so Command E or then mesh extrude. Okay, then go to your scale tool, yeah, so my R, and then just kind of scale that in, yeah, so that's how you can kind of create an edge tool. Unfortunately, if we try to do that, let's see at the bottom, if we try to go to insert edge loop and drop off, yeah, there's nothing, it's really not gonna let you do that, so that's why we have to kind of do that extrude, yeah. So again, I'll do the same thing with the bottom one, face mode, select it down over here. Okay, and then just do a Command E to extrude, right? There's my R to scale, and just bring that in ever so slightly. Yeah. All right, so that'll be the head of the character. Yeah, so pretty simple. Last step you may want to do if you kind of like the shape already and kind of like, okay, ready to go. What you can then do is, let me check. Yeah, I like how this is turning out. This should be nice. This should be pretty much what I want. I'm just gonna make sure that it's matched up in this view. Let's see. a little bit rounded right on these areas over here. I can I'm kind of okay with it. If I wanted this to be a little bit more like uh, angled, I could have put another edge loop right over here. Yeah, so maybe more towards the middle though. And same thing over here, but I'm kind of good with this. So what we can then do is, like, if you like how it looks, remember we can now finalize it. So you're just gonna go into your mesh tool and choose the smooth option. Yeah, and that'll give you your full-on model right there. Yeah, and so that should be pretty clean for you. All right. Okay. So that's the head of the Lego character. We're now gonna for the next video, we'll get into the body.